Thank you for visiting Past the Wire TV, the YouTube channel of PastTheWire.com.
Hi, I'm Tommy Masters, and I thought I knew it all until I started reading Past the Wire.
Everybody, Dan Oman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free, exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING, get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator, exclusively on DRF Bets.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Past the Wire TV. Saratoga today, or Saratoga Saturday, I should call it this year, because I am not doing these shows every day like last year. That was a little bit too much work. For this episode, and hopefully for some future episodes, I am joined by Dawn, Lupul, paddock analyst, professional handicapper from Woodbine, her home base. Very, very sharp. We had an interview with her on the show where you could learn a lot more about her. But I'm thrilled to have you, Dawn. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks, John. I'm looking forward to it. It's Saratoga, and I know exactly what you mean about doing a daily show, because a couple of years ago I decided to do the Saratoga meet using DRF Formulator and kind of showing people how I was handicapping, and I committed to doing it every day. And then I suddenly realized that Saratoga was running like 5 days a week, and I said, "What have I gotten myself into?" It's a lot of work, but this will be fun. Let's pick.
It was a lot of work for me, yeah. And I didn't realize how grueling that it would become. And the biggest problem for me is, and you can understand this as a professional player, I'm a very selective player. There are certain days, even if it's Saratoga, if I don't like anything, I'm not going to bet anything. People don't want to tune into a show and hear you say, you know what, I don't like the card, I'm not betting anything, there's rain in the forecast, I'm just watching. They want to hear opinions, So I found myself forced to come up with opinions, and I didn't want to do that, I didn't want to do that. Saturdays at Saratoga, there's a pretty good chance I'm going to have an opinion or two. So I figured that's a lot better. So hopefully it'll go well. Before we get into the Saratoga card, you're playing with, for lack of a better term, a new product that you're offering that I think is a great idea. I've seen some samples of it. I think it's really, really put together well. Tell us a little bit about what you're thinking about offering for Saratoga and for some other meets.
Yeah, well, like as a player, you need to focus on what your strengths are. And I think the longer you play, the more you define what you're good at, what you're maybe not as good at. For me, it's picking vulnerable favorites. Like there's no doubt about it. I'm very good at looking at a card and saying, this horse is going to be 4-5, even odds 6-5, and I want no part of it. And being able to construct tickets around those kind of opinions. Not always right, but you don't have to always be right when you're chucking out a 6-5 shot.
Right.
A good opinion will carry you a long way. So I started to do kind of a fact sheet for Woodbine for about a week just to test product. Sent it to a few people to see what they thought about it. And that was one of the favorite sections of it, was the vulnerable favorites. So I'm looking to put something together. I wanted to watch Saratoga the opening weekend, just try to identify any early track trends, trainers who look like they're really geared up, ready to go. They should all be, but it's not the case all the time. And then start putting something together for next week. So if anybody's interested, I'll be promoting it through Twitter. You can get on my Twitter at Dawn Lupul, DAWNLUPUL, and you can see what I'm offering there. So it'll be, nominal cost, but it's just a way to, be in the game, help people out, and let's just play against favorites. Nobody wants favorites.
Yeah, no, I agree. Identifying vulnerable favorites, I think, is a key to being successful long-term in this game. Let me ask you this. I think I know the answer. A lot of people do this. I don't, except in rare exceptions. I believe rules are made to be broken, but this is a rule I try to stick to. If there's a vulnerable favorite and I'm betting a multi-race sequence and I don't like that particular favorite, some people will use the horse, quote, defensively, or say, well, I'm not going to let him beat me. I don't normally do that, except in certain rare instances where I just for some reason, I just can't get myself to leave a horse off a ticket, and I've got enough prices in the other legs that I feel that it's somewhat justified. But what's your take on that, using a favorite you're looking to beat defensively, which I think is something a lot of players do, and I think it's a mistake.
Well, I think you just said it, because you can't apply one rule to everything, and you will use them sometimes, but you are trying not to. I think that's the best strategy. You and I should do a show once on the psychology of gambling, because the unfortunate thing is when you get stung once or twice, you become a little bit gun shy, right? You become a little bit leery. And if you leave a favorite off, and you would have had a big ticket if you had only thrown him in because some of your big horses came in the other legs, then it becomes a little bit more difficult to leave them off in the future. So yeah, the psychology of gambling is a big thing. I like to take a stance. I live or die by the sword. What I might do in that scenario is play some kind of like play some exactas or something, just to at least cover the cost of the ticket if I happen to be wrong. But yeah, I tend to be a little bit more aggressive and just say, you know what, you beat me. I'll live to play again.
I'm the same way, and it was tougher for me to overcome. And I'll tell you why. My dad, who I used to go to the racetrack with for many years, never understood that concept. Okay. And every time I would leave a favorite off and they would beat me, how do you let that happen? And he would blame it on my blood. He would say, it's that hard Calabrese head of yours. Hard Calabrese head. He goes, yeah, it's so stubborn. It's that Calabrese head you get from your mother. And he goes, how do you let this horse beat you? And I didn't like him. You know what I mean? I don't care. He was 3-5. And so it was harder for me because I always had him on those rides home when it happened, drilling it in the whole way. And every time that happened, it seemed we'd get stuck in traffic. There'd always be bad traffic that day. So I'd really have to hear it when there's no escape, because when you're stuck in a car in traffic with somebody, there's no way to get away. So it was hard, but that's my philosophy. I try and just leave them out altogether and use that money to reinvest on the ones I like better or something like that.
Yeah.
Saratoga's underway. First Saturday is here. I did come up with a couple of opinions. I found one vulnerable favorite that kind of just jumped out at me. It was nothing very creative that I'll talk about, and we'll get your take on it. And in the two stakes, I came up with horses that I think to my liking make a lot of sense. One of them is a tough race because it's the Diana. It's a grade 1. You got 6 horses, 4 of them are Chad Brown horses, and I used to hate that.
Yeah.
I used to hate trying to decipher which of a particular trainer's horses, whether it was, Baffert in California with 2 or 3 maidens in a race, or Chad with a couple of, with Chad, I've come to actually embrace that scenario now, and I've been successful in deciphering, especially Chad's horses, which ones are the ones he like. And I've come up with the other Chad a lot. I've come up with the main Chad a lot, and so it's now a scenario that I actually like and I embrace. But it's something that I was a couple of years ago dead set against, and I used to hate trying to figure out. And then I came up with something in the Sanford that I thought was a little bit interesting. So
that's a tough race. I like that race.
Yeah, well, one of the things I like as a handicapper, and people shy away from it, I love situations where we have less information on paper, like baby races, like these 2-year-old stakes where everybody's run once and won. And like, well, how do you come up with an opinion there? I think that gives a really trained eye, or a really, student of the game type of handicapper that pays attention, a little bit of an edge over the everyday player, and even over the computer players, because how much, nothing that can program into a model if the horses only run once or haven't run at all. So there's, I like those races because, I draw on my longevity, so to speak, to come up with something. Do you find any spots on the Saturday card you found interesting?
Yeah, I think you and I are targeting one favorite early in the card, and it's not a fancy race, right? It's the 4th race at 40 non-2, going a mile and an eighth, and it does look so. David Aragona installing the 2 higher quality at even odds on the morning line, and the horse is going to take a ton of money. Let's face it. It's Chad Brown, it's a dropper. So Chad you always have to remember the Chad factor. He has owners that want to win races at Saratoga, like everybody does. But it seems like Chad spends more time worrying about that than some other trainers. His stats are crazy though, Chad Brown. I just looked it up before we came on. He's, you can massage these stats from here to Sunday, but he's 8 for 19 going allowance to claiming at Saratoga. And it's actually, so that's 42%, and an ROI that's actually for Chad kind of healthy at $2.29. The thing is, I always look at a stat like that and I say, oh, 42%. So he loses, 58% of the time. So let's try to beat him in this. Let's try to beat him in this situation. I hate the way the horse ran last time. I don't like that race. To me, it seems like they're giving up on him pretty quickly. Now, he wasn't a pricey purchase. Just an auction price of $95,000. So there's that to consider. It's not like they're into him for a ton. They want to win. He's obviously for sale. I just don't like that last race at all. So I was looking around. Rob Atras at Saratoga, he had a great meet last year. Remember that? Like Rob Atras was on fire. He was winning. The horses were well meant. He had them situated in the right spot. He won, what did he go? 13 of 47 on the dirt, and he won some turf races too. So the 4 Eagle in Love with Ricardo Santana. So Franco obviously rides for Brown, so it gives Santana a spot here with Atras. The blinkers come off. The horse showed that unexpected speed last time, which we hadn't seen since his debut. I think he's kind of a sneaky, interesting horse in there. So that's kind of where I'm going to head.
Yeah, I really didn't have an opinion on who I thought was going to win. I just thought that, higher quality was a good one to bet against for a number of reasons. Obviously when they drop like that, that, like you said, they could just be looking to win a race in Saratoga with a horse that might not be as good as they had hoped. But, I've watched this horse from, his first race when he looked like he was going to win easily and had that accident where he went down. And then he came back, and there were a couple of times where he really got bet like he was going to win and just totally flopped. You know what I mean? In a couple of those races, he like moved up, took the lead, and just fell apart. So I always felt like there's a hole there somewhere. And now the drop kind of confirms that, you know what I mean? And, I hate taking a short price on a horse that I think is moving down. You know what I mean? I like horses moving up and looking at signs of confidence as opposed to, well, we could probably win for 40. Let's just, run for 40. So, you know, a lot of people are going to single that horse in the early multi-race wagers, you know, the pick 4 and the pick 5. And, you know, he's just a horse that I would leave off my ticket and say, hey, if he wins, he wins. I just, you know, I don't cash today. You know, let him beat me.
Yeah, I mean, Saratoga. So yesterday, on the opening day on Thursday, there was, you know, 4 winning favorites. I mean, that's how it's going to be, right? Between 3, 4, 5 every day. So you'll get your average somewhere high 30% of favorites. So that leaves a lot of races where these favorites are going to go down, and finding those, like this horse, to me, he's got a couple red flags. Sure, he can win, absolutely. But you're right, John, he's going to get singled on a lot of tickets. So you get one of these who gets beat, the ticket is automatically paying a lot more than what you would normally think. So yeah, Those are the ones we look for.
Right. And, you know, one of my strategies when I, you know, play a sequence like that, and I'm probably not going to play the early sequence on Saturday. I'm a very selective player, but
yes,
when I do play a sequence like that, I love to take a single, but I love it not to be that one, because you know, if I get my single home, then I'm spread in enough of those other races in the pick 5 where I've got a shot to hit a really nice one and hit it a couple of times. So for those of you looking at, you know, ticket structuring advice, me, and I think Dawn agrees, you know, I'd single someone else, look to bet against that horse. And hey, if you lose that one, you could lose 5 of them or 6 of them and win 1 and make up for all of those, you know, and over the course of the meet, you will. So it's just having the discipline to approach it that way. The Diana, I thought, was an interesting race, even with only 6. I saw it, and it's so hard to gauge what the pace is going to be like in these grass races in New York, especially the last couple of years. You know, the fractions are wrong half the time. You know, only one horse goes, and either the half is 44 going a mile and a half, and you say that's got to be wrong, or it's 51 going a mile and an eighth, and like, hey, well, can that be right? You know, and you just never know. But I saw this as a race where there should be, at least on paper, some pace. And you know, I was hoping that, yes, they're going to make Bleecker Street, who is a closer, you know, and does get a nice setup. They were going to make, you know, her a heavy favorite, 7 for 7. I was hoping they would bet Appleby's horse because of his reputation and as hot as he's been the last couple of years. I think that horse will probably be less than 8 to 1. They'll bet all of Chad's horses. And I kind of like Rogier to rebound off the last flop. I thought that the first time he ran her, she ran really, really, really well. And then last time, although Bleecker Street won from off the pace, it was really if we can believe the fractions, a slow pace race. She kind of flopped with no visible excuse. But to me, she just looks like the kind of horse that can rebound. I'm gambling that there was an excuse in that race, and the fact that he brings her back into Diana, a grade 1 that I know he's won several times and likes to win. I think that, you know, more than 1 or 2 of the races that she ran in Europe that I've watched the replays of are good enough to win this. I think the race that she did win for him is good enough to win this if she runs back to any of those. And I tend to think that she'll get the right pace set up, and this time it'll be her as opposed to Bleecker Street that comes running late and gets the job done. So that's, you know, a play for me. What I'm hoping is in a relatively small field, 6 horses, 3 to 1, maybe 7 to 2. But she'll be a single for me in the late race sequence. What'd you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, she's okay. So yeah, a couple of things for sure. Like Bleecker Street, if the times were right last time, she came her last quarter in 21:83, so 21-4, which is, I mean, going a mile and a quarter. So right away, we're suspicious that the times were possibly a little bit off. So yeah, you know, the times on turf anyways, I think we have to handicap around that. We start to look at class, because class becomes more important. Rogier has far better credentials than Bleecker Street. Bleecker Street's undefeated. You know, I'd say, well, who did she beat? Well, she beat Rogier in her last start, but
that one,
Yeah, I mean, she didn't really run a race, and sometimes you see that happen. And a second start off with kind of a long layoff, she just was maybe a little bit flat. They're fillies and mares. It happens. I didn't think she looked overly sharp before the race, in the paddock and everything else. So maybe she was just having an off day. God knows I have enough of them. So horses are allowed to as well. She still has those credentials. It was funny when she met Creative Flair, who's the 2-horse, Charles Appleby's horse, who I actually like in here. They met in Chantilly in France back on July the 18th of last year, and Creative Flair was the 6-5 favorite, and Rougier was like 4-1, and she was able to finish in front of her. Creative Flair just, I don't know, she got to the front and then just didn't finish on. I'm not sure what kind of running style she adopts today. So Jamie Spencer back on here. Last time when he came to ride her at Belmont, he kind of sat just, I don't know, he was kind of in the middle. It was a 6-horse field. I didn't think he gave a particularly inspired ride. I think she's better than that. I do like your horse too, though. Those are the two I like, Rougier and Creative Flair. And if any of the other Chads beat us, what are you going to do?
Right. Yeah. No, it's hard. It's tough. My second choice, believe it or not, who doesn't look like she gets a good setup is I'm most afraid of In Italian, who I think has a lot of talent, but I just don't think gets the right setup on Saturday, unless Joel tries something different with her. And he is one of those riders that can take a speed horse back on occasion, and all of a sudden they're coming from off the pace. But I don't think they're going to be able to outfinish Rougier if she runs back to one of her A races on Saturday, and I suspect that she will. I've got another opinion in the Sanford. I love these 2-year-old stakes at Saratoga. I love races where the majority of the field has run one time and won, and people have a hard time deciphering who's going to do what and who's going to go where. I love those opportunities. So did you have an opinion in the Sanford at all?
Yeah, it's, with these baby races too, because you're looking at, you don't know which horse is actually like legit speed, or they're just precocious, because they're they're able to win early on. So it's trying to decipher like who needs the lead. Are we going to see like a torrid meltdown kind of pace? That can definitely happen. You have a couple who were able to sit back and relax and come from off of the pace. I was pretty impressed with a horse that didn't get a very high speed figure, the 2 Major Dude, in his first start, but I just really liked the way that he ran. I thought it was so professional. Sat back, he was 60 cents on the dollar, Velasquez chilly as can be, and then came with a big run. But you look at that figure of 59 for a buyer and you think, oh, like that's not going to beat anything in here. The 4 Forte obviously going to take a ton of money off of that 81. I thought he got the perfect setup. Whether he is that good, yes, he was used up at the wire. We'll see. And 81 looks pretty gaudy in here, but I'm not sold. I think that there's other horses you can go to. The 9-horse, of course, Fort Ticonderoga is going to take a ton of play too. Or sorry, that's in the looking back at the 9. The 12-horse. Yeah, if we could switch post positions, if you put Rudy's horse, the 12, Valenzen Day, where Pletcher's horse is Forte, so Rudy's got the 12, Forte's got the 4. If you switch that up, I like Valenzen Day as a real horse. I just don't know what kind of trip he's going to work out from there.
Interesting. I'm glad you mentioned it too, because I like a horse that you didn't mention, but the one that I have marked as the one that I fear to come get me late is the 2 Major Dude, who's the other Pletcher. He's not Forte. He's the other Pletcher, and that's the one. How I bet these multi-late sequences is I'll have one ticket where I'm not an ABC guy at all. I don't believe in that. I believe ABC is for old school Chinese restaurants. Okay, I don't bet that way. I don't believe in it. But what I'll do is I'll play one main ticket that will include all the horses I want to use.
Everyone.
And then I'll play my go back ticket where I would single the horse that I like in this race. And on my bigger ticket, the 2 that I would be using would be Major Dude and the horse that I like, which is the 5 Curly Jack. And it's interesting that I come up with Curly Jack, and I'll tell you why. One of the things that I've just done over the years, and it's based on observations, is I downgrade a lot of the 2-year-old maiden special weight winners at Churchill Downs when they come over to the spa, because I just find that, the New York horses seem to be better. And even sometimes some of the shippers that ship in from, out of town just seem to be better for some reason. And Churchill has improved their product and improved their racing. And, they have a lot of well-bred horses and good outfits over there, but they never really transitioned that success over to Saratoga. But again, rules are made to be broken. So this horse just caught my eye when he broke his maiden. He broke from the rail, didn't get the lead, but then was able to move up and run up inside horses and kind of just make the lead on his own natural cruising speed. And to me, when a horse can do that on the rail and look, to my eye, somewhat relaxed and not keyed up, not like gunning to the rail because he's precocious or just keyed up or nervous, just because I'm faster than the rest of you. You know what I mean? Just made it on his own. That tells me that he's the kind of horse that can probably sit second or third as well, because he's just got a natural cruising speed and he's relaxed and he's not intimidated by the rail or horses on the outside, which tells me he won't be intimidated by the horses around him. So I really like that in a race like this, when you don't have a lot of information to go by and it looks like there's going to be a fast pace. So I like him. And another thing that kind of attracted me to him was I think that Good Magic is going to turn out to be an outstanding sire, with a lot of young winners. The whole line from the sire and the dam, Glinda, I forget the name, but that whole line, I love that line. And I just think he's going to really prove to be a stakes producing, high quality early sire. So all of those things, Tyler Gaffleone as well, I think rides Saratoga very, very, very well. And I know he's very hungry and aggressive and a strong finisher, but still does have a nice touch and can sit the right trip. I just think this is a talented colt that people may not realize how talented as of yet. The field didn't look very good behind him, but we don't really know yet in these baby races.
Time will tell.
I'm going to lean on Curly Jack. I'm probably going to bet Curly Jack. Hopefully I get a fair price. I'm hoping at least a 6-1 morning line in a 12-horse field like this, maybe better. And then I'm going to use him in the late pick 5. Or if somehow the pick 6 carries over till then, if they don't hit it today, there's a carryover, then I would go after the pick 6. But I think they'll hit it today. So if they don't, those are the 2 that I would use, though, would be Major Dude and Curly Jack, and then just bet Curly Jack on his own.
Yeah, there's another one in there that I like. And again, it's a great race to kind of look for opinions, because even if you're not playing multi-legs, like what's the try going to pay in here if you cut a couple bombs, right? Just the sheer size of the field. So the 6 horse, the Brad Cox horse we haven't mentioned, who I actually really like, Mo Strike is his name. So what I like about him is if you go into his pedigree a little bit, his dam by the name of Featherbed, she got so good early on. Like, she was one of those that just hit the ground running. It took her 2 starts to break her maiden, and she came right back in the matron at Belmont, finished second by a head. And then after that, her buyers kept just cycling up. I think that this colt might be that same way. There's just something about the way that he looked. I love the way he moved on the track, son of Uncle Mo. He's got he has everything, right? He's got all the tools. He won from the 10-hole first out. Came a wide trip. He did it so professionally. He's bred to be a good one. It's Brad Cox, which, it's not a bad thing to throw in there. So that's one that I'm looking at too. This horse scares me a lot.
Yeah, no, I could see it. And that's the great thing about these 2-year-old stakes, especially when they get 12, is there's just so many ways to go. You're almost assured of getting a price.
Yeah.
And you're definitely going to get, what a lot of people miss, that when you go after the multi-race wagers in these kind of races, the horses are generally longer in those races than the odds reflect, because how many can these people use? You know what I mean? If you get away from the first or second choice, I think you're really getting value, So I love those races for those reasons. I'm hoping against hope that somehow the pick six carries over till Saturday. Then I come out of my pick six hiatus, semi-retirement, and go after those days. And you know, I used to not like that they changed it to $1, because I figured the $2 keeps, you know, it creates separation, makes it harder for people to. But now I like it, because as you get older, you get a little bit more mellow, you change. And I feel like I'm saving money. You know what I mean? A $1,200 ticket would have cost me $2,400, and a 5,000 now only cost me $2,500. So I feel like I'm getting a bargain off the bat at a 50% rate. So I'm okay with the $1. But like I said, the 2-3 day carryovers are a rarity nowadays.
Yeah.
So they'll probably hit it today, but you never know. I hope they don't. Anything else on the card that stuck out to you or that you wanted to mention?
Nothing major, just, you know, judging from what happened last year and what I've seen, you know, what I saw on opening day, I really want to focus in on the Mike Maker horses. He has one right in the opener in the first race, North Pole, the 5-horse with Gaffleon, who, you know, he's 3-1 morning line, so I'm not looking at a big price here, but it's a maiden 40, but he's one that I would consider. And then I'm just going to play a double there with the Wesley Ward horse. And I'm going to take the 2 outside horses in the race to go with the 6 and 7. So I'm going to kick things off with just a little double there. Nothing too pricey, but it's one that you can jump on a bit. And if it pays $20, you get a $50 one, and it's a good start to the day. So those are, I love playing the double. You know, I don't know, there's something about the double. I know that at most tracks, the takeouts kind of brutal depending on where you are. I hear at Woodbine it's good because it's only like 15% or something, so it's not bad. It's kind of like that forgotten wager, you know, where you have these solid opinions and you're looking to play a pick 4 or something, or pick 6 or pick 5, and sometimes you just jump on the double and you can really hammer it. You know, there's where you can have $100 ticket if you've got the firm opinion and at least one of the legs, and those things pay pretty good. You know, you're looking $25-$30. It's not the worst.
I love doubles and I love exact. I think they both, you know, get overlooked a lot. You know, we've developed a mindset in the sport now to automatically go for, like you said, a pick 4 or pick 5 or pick 3. You know, and those aren't always the kill. You know, and I always say, listen, I love exactas. You know what I mean? I love it. You know, so you know, I'll definitely, like when I bet Curly Jack, I'll definitely bet Curly Jack to win. And Curly Jack, the way I bet him is I'll take him on top of 2 exactors. You know what I mean? One of them will definitely be the Pletcher horse, Major Dude. I think he'll be closing late, and I'll come up with somebody else and I'll bet him to win. And if he wins, great. And then if I hit the exactor, I hit it cold. I don't reverse him. I don't change him. I don't box. I'll just bet, you know, 5-2, 5 something else, and 5 to win. But I think people overlook that a lot. And go for those multi-race wagers. And on TV, they kind of almost encourage it. They're like, oh, 1 pick 3 left. You know what I mean? They'll never say there's a double. You know, the time, you're at it at pick 5, time for the pick 4. You know what I mean? You're at it at pick 4, time for the. And I don't know why they do that, because they would create more churn other ways. And I think that they try to create churn. So I don't know why they've adopted that, but they seem to have. So it is.
I don't know why it's such a popular thing, because you look at a pick 5, it's 1 takeout right on the whole thing, but there's win exacta betting on every race. I don't know why you're not saying, you know, this is a great exacta bet in here. Like, that's for a racetrack, that makes business sense. That's you're taking out of that on every single race, or a double, at least it's 2 races instead of 5. I'm not sure what the rationale there is.
I agree. Anyway, thanks for coming on. Hopefully we hit some good points for the Saturday card. We'll be doing it again next Saturday. Like I said, you're welcome to come on. I hope you do, if your schedule permits. But Saratoga Saturday on Past the Wire TV. John Stettin, Dawn Lupul. Dawn's got a new sheet coming out. Follow her on Twitter. Check it out. Can't go wrong. And hopefully we'll see you all next week.
Breed the best to the best and hope for the best.
Vekoma broke well on the outside, and
but you don't expect to get speed like this.
Inside, Vekoma continues to battle on down in the rail. It is Vekoma who's going to win the Met Mile.
Been there, done that.
Nobody does it better.